Hello, how are you today? I think I'm on. Okay, it's just about a minute early. If you can hear me, let me know. And I'll be ready to start in just a minute. We say hello to all of the North Carolina people. Wish we could see you in person, but since we can't, this is a great alternative. I am from Conover, which is right outside of Hickory, about an hour north of Charlotte, down Highway 16. So glad to have you here. And this is the card that we're going to make today. We're going to be using the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set, and we're also going to use Basket of Blooms stamp set, with a couple other things too. Let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a card base of Gorgeous Grape, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm just going to fold this. Just realized I don't have it scored, but that's okay. So this will be our base. But we're also going to use a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 for the bottom part of the card. And but we're going to go ahead and start with the Scrappy Strips. And I know that most of you have seen this, probably all of you. But the reason I was showing it was that I was able to stamp on top of that. And in some of the strips, you leave a little space in between. But we won't be doing that today. I told you would need some strips. I just had some scraps. And these are from 1/4 to 1 inch wide and about 4 inches long. And I'm just going to use this little trimmer. You're just going to stick them in. You don't want to trim too much because the skinnier it is, the more you have to put on there. And I didn't really want to put a lot. So you're just going to take off a little bit on each of those. And I went ahead and I have that done for most of them. So I'm just going to pull some in. And we're going to start our gluing. Okay, so I've got a piece of paper that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and this is what I'm going to glue everything to. Now I tried using the adhesive sheets, and that will work fine, but I found that I wanted to move my scraps around. Sorry, somebody's calling me. Nobody ever calls me. We'll ignore. And so what I'm going to do is glue these, and we will butt those up close to each other, like this. Isn't that weird? No one ever calls you. And I'm going to move these so that the thin and the thick side kind of alternate each time. Okay. And you can see if you have them kind of big, it really doesn't take very long to get those on there. And as I said, I am alternating the colors and putting the thick end, moving that around each time. So that'll do it. Our paper is covered, except for this corner, and of course, I'm gluing it to the paper. So there's an easy fix for that. I will turn my paper over and we won't have to worry about it. Okay, so all of that is glued, and I think I'm going to take my snips and kind of cut off some of this extra. We're going to cut this out anyway, but I don't want the glue to be a problem. Okay. Okay, there might have been a better way to do that. Maybe I needed my silicone mat. All right, I'm going to be using the Stitched So Sweetly dies, and I'm going to use the largest one, I believe. Let me hold that up to that. Yep, that's the one. It's been a while since I actually made this card. So I'm going to bring in my Big Shot, and we'll cut this. So I'm just going to lay it as straight as I can. Put on this, and this might shake the table, hopefully not too much. And we are cutting through a couple of sheets, so I think I'll go back and forth a couple times. Now a hint about that, if you lift it up and it still looked like it wasn't cut very well, is that you can lay it this way with the cutting edges up and run it through again, and that often helps. But I think we're all right. So we'll take that out. So here's our little scrappy strip layer. And the next thing that we're going to do is stamp that. So I'm going to bring in the Stamparatus, and I have the large stamp on here, and I'm just going to kind of, I think when I put this on here, it was before I cut it out, so I'm just going to move this so that my image is about where I want it to be. And then we are going to ink this up with gorgeous grape ink. Okay. And I like the Stamparatus, especially for a big stamp, because you don't always get that as well as you want it, but you can go back and ink it again, and I think that's what I'm going to do. See if we can get a good solid stamp on that. That looks pretty good. So you can see it's pretty easy to stamp on that, even though you've used the strips. So I'm going to pull back in the piece of white that we're going to use, and I'm going to use our layer right here to help me decide where we're going to stamp. And we're going to be using the leaves and this flower from the basket of blooms. So I'm going to stamp the leaves in Old Olive and the flower in Memento. Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of extra plates for the Stamparatus also. That's a great idea. Since I do classes, I actually have several of them, and they are wonderful. So I want my flowers to peep out from under this layer, and I kind of have them around the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and work on my leaves and see how that's going to look. And I really think I can just kind of do them toward the corners, and they should be fine. And then I'm going to just color that in with the light Old Olive blend. And for something small like this, I like to use the bullet end, the small end. It's easier for me to keep them in line, although on camera that may or may not be the case. Now I could have also stamped this in with the Memento Black, and I think it would have looked just great. In fact, I thought later, why didn't I do that? I bet you sometimes wonder why you did certain things. Okay, so there's our stems, and then we'll stamp our flowers kind of close to those. And some of that's going to be covered, of course, by the banner we've made. Oops, that one didn't get stamped quite the best. Okay, so for these, I'm going to color the centers. I think on everything that I wrote for you, I told you that it would be dark Mango Melody, but I see I have the light, so I'll use it. I really think the dark would look better. And then for the flowers, I'm going to use the light and the dark Highland Heather. So I'm going to color it with the light. I'll just do a couple. And then, and I'm trying to kind of do this in a hurry, so. And then I'll go back in with the dark. And I'm just going to kind of do that down toward the inside part of the petal. And I'll tell you, I've gotten to where I don't even go back and blend that much. I just leave it at that and let me color in those stems. Now the smear that I've got's not going to matter. So we'll go back and do the same for these others. Let me go back to my small bullet end. I just seem to prefer that for the small space. I've also kind of gotten on a purple kick a little bit lately. I didn't used to use purple very much, but I've just gotten to where I love these three shades of purple together. And I love them with green. Usually I would probably pair that with the Granny Apple Green rather than the Old Olive. But I was using that for a class. So, so this is the one I used instead. So just adding a little bit of the dark Highland Heather in there. All right. Now to attach my card, let's see how that's going to look. Yeah, I probably should have gotten those flowers down a little bit further. I think what I'm going to do is add one down here that's going to stick out a little bit more. Maybe I'll add one up here. You know, you can always add a little more to get it just the way you want it. I'm one of these people who has a little bit of trouble stopping sometimes. I just want to keep adding, and I probably would end up adding them all the way around. That would be pretty. So, getting back to the Scrappy Strip, I did, as I said, try that with the adhesive sheet. I did really like the fact that I could move that glue around a little bit, because I would get that sheet adhered and it really wasn't quite butted up as closely as I needed it, and that was a little bit of a problem. Now, to adhere this, you could either use dimensionals. I'm going to use the foam adhesive strips for that. And I'm just going to go around the whole thing. I think I might stick a little in the middle. Right, so we will take those off. I'm finding that one of my challenges with this card, because this piece is a little wampered, it's hard for me to decide when I have this straight. So we will hope that I get it kind of straight. And then we will bring in the glue. Okay, here it is. Oh, you know what? I forgot a step, and it's too late now. So let me tell you that before I adhered this, I was supposed to run it through the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. So sorry about that. And I don't know if you can tell much of a difference between this one that has a little bit of the texture and this one that doesn't. But I think it added a lot, so sorry I missed that step. So I'm going to glue this to my card base. And then on this sample that I had already done, I had added a few extra flowers and leaves, and I've already done those. You have to fussy cut these. There are not dies with this set. So to tell you the truth, I had a place on here that I needed to hide, and that was one of the reasons that this extra got added. But then I liked it too, so we'll just add the flower and the leaves. You know, our job is to kind of know how to fix mistakes and I think we're all pretty good at it. I think I'm going to stick that up under that flower there a little, and then we'll add some at the bottom. Okay, I think I've turned it around that way. So to me, the prettiest part of this card is just the colors. I really like the Purple Posy, the Highland Heather, and the gorgeous grape all together with that. Yes, opportunity for embellishments is correct. On the inside, I think I have a little bit of time left. I don't think I've been on here that long. So for the inside, I used the other stamp, It's Your Day, Enjoy It. So I will go ahead and put that in the Stamparatus, and we'll ink that up. So I just thought that this was a card that maybe looked like it was a little bit harder than it actually was. Okay, and then we'll just add a couple more leaves inside and a flower. Oops, there's a mistake. Maybe we'll add a leaf down in here. And we'll add a flower right in there. Okay, now to make that not look so weird, I think I'll add some leaves there. All right. So we'll just color that up. And that will be the inside. Now this will be on my blog. I have a blog called Love to Create, and it will be on there on Monday. I'll upload this video along with it, and I will have all the measurements and things on there, as well as you have them in the video that I did yesterday. But pretty easy. Somehow I thought this would take a little bit longer to do with you. I guess I had a lot cut out ahead of time. Okay, so let me glue that on the inside. And we'll have our finished card. Oops. Okay, so there you have it. There are two. And I'll tell you, when I said a while ago, you wonder sometimes why you did something the way you did it. I looked on the inside of my sample card, and I had done these flowers going down, and I'm sure I did it that way because they went down here. But that, on retrospect, just looks weird. So, looks much better coming straight. Maybe I should have put them around the flower a little bit better than that, but it is what it is. So thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you from North Carolina and how you share and help each other. And I hope to see you sometime soon. Bye-bye.